One thing that I thought was very interesting is that anytime I use a grinder without a guard, I get a lot of people telling me that I'm gonna kill myself. And it says grinder guards are for noobs. So here's the thing, guys. I'm going to show you what to look for so that you can grind safer. If you choose to use a guard or if you choose not to use a guard, that is completely up to you. But if you're new with a grinder, until you learn this stuff, leave your guard on. I'm not telling you to take your guard off. I choose to take my guard off. The benefits for me of taking my guard off is I can see, I can get into places easier, and I have more control of my grinder. Also, I never stand on plane with the grinder blade. My arm will always be in the impact zone. If this thing should separate and go flying off at 11,000 RPMs, it's gonna hit my arm. And it's pretty bad. But it's not gonna hit my arm with rotational force. The accidents I've seen with grinders that have been bad were kickbacks, right? Where someone doesn't have the grinder firmly in a firm grip and the grinder itself kicks back and hits them. And it doesn't matter what you're wearing at that point, you're gonna get cut up pretty bad. I saw a guy with a face shield once take a grinder to the face, cut his nose up pretty bad. I've also seen a guy, I've seen situations where safety gear like gloves I saw a guy grind 2 of his fingers off all the way down to here, and he was working on a big sander, and he didn't like the sparks, and you know, I don't know, he put his hands in there. I don't wear gloves. I don't. Safety glasses are a must when you're grinding. Sometimes I forget to put them on. You see these wrinkles right here? See all that? Those are not smile lines, those are frown lines. When I'm grinding, I do this. It's so crazy. So I'm losing half my vision anyway. I always do that instinctively. I instinctively squint, and the reason is because every single time I've ever been to the doctor to have something picked out of my eye, they'll come in and they got a needle and they put it right in your eye, and you got to stay perfectly still, and they'll pick it out, or they got a little drill, and it's almost like it's like a micro dentist drill, and they'll go in there and they'll drill on your eye, and that's happened several times. Every single time that's ever happened to me, I had on safety glasses or a safety shield, or in an MSHA area where I was working at a mine as a fabricator. I actually had to have both on and hearing protection, and I still got stuff in my eyes. It's gonna happen. You're gonna get things in your eyes. Everybody says you're gonna lose your eyes. You're gonna lose your eyes. Well, you could lose an eye, but you're still gonna get things in your eyes unless you wear a full shield that covers up all around here, like chemist glasses. Those are great. Amy's a chemist. She wears goggles, and I stole her goggles when I was mowing the lawn the other day. Works fantastic, guys. Anyway. So yeah, I'm going to show you what you're going to look for when you're grinding or when you're using a cutoff wheel to mitigate the wheel blowing apart. It's not just that, you know, when someone says, hey, you're going to kill yourself because that wheel could explode, but they don't know why it's exploding, that tells me that they don't really know a lot about, no offense, what they're talking about as far as what makes these break. A lot of times guys will put their grinder down, face down, which you never do, and it will literally put a crack in here in these thin wheels, right? It doesn't happen as often in grinders, but they can be dropped. So if you're the first guy checking out a grinder and you don't have your own grinder, you don't know who's been messing with it, it's not in your box the way it was, do you just trust your wheel? Probably not. Give it a little flex. Put your palm on there, flex it around, and make sure that it looks good, and just get a visual. You know, this is a Porter cable. Just check it out, you know. Another thing you want to look for, and we're going to be paying attention to this. All right, this is where you're going to have problems when you're grinding. See how much, I've gone through 3/8 plate with this guy right here, right? And I've had this thing buried, and I made a 6-inch cut through 3/8 plate. And you can still read almost all the stuff on the outside. I'm not taking anything off the sides, which means, and it's the same here, look, you can see the webbing clearly, right? So here's what's happening. I'm not putting any torsional load on this, so I'm not tweaking this grinder. I'm keeping it dead straight in my cut, and that's gonna help. And how you determine that you're doing that while you're working is you're gonna see a nice line of very fast sparks around this. The edge of this will actually be glowing, and you don't want to see any of that anywhere down here at all. And I'll show you what that looks like. That means you're inside the cut and you're putting a load on it sideways. So your cut's right here and you're twisting it. You're twisting the grinder. That thing is moving so fast, and if you get it tweaking enough like that, it's going to start to oscillate. And when it starts to oscillate, it's going to blow. And so watch this. hopefully I'll be able to capture it on camera. What you're going to be looking for is a nice little pattern right around here and not this far down, right? Everything looks good on this wheel. Let's get to work. Here's my grinder. I am a full foot away from my grinder. I'm over here. My body is not in plane with the grinder. I'm not holding it right here. This is not pointed at my face. I am way off to the side. Be comfortable, but place yourself off to the side of the grinder. Do not stand in front of it. All right, so we're gonna draw a line right here with the grinder. Now, look. It's killing me. You guys may not be able to see it, so I'm going to try to get you super close, stupid close. Let's see. All right, I want you to pay attention to this edge down here. Okay, more than likely you clearly saw that the outside ring of that grinder was glowing red, right? So what I'm doing is I'm not taking a cut in from the edge and trying to grind that direction. That's just not gonna happen. First off, your wheel's gonna eat up really quick. I'm making 10 inches of cut on 3/8 plate, and I'm gonna use 10% of this wheel. The tool will cut all on its own, and I'm moving it back and forth in the slot that I created. Now this is where it gets potentially dangerous. You've got that thing shoved in a slot, it catches and it breaks, okay? So we're just gonna show you how to mitigate that. Throw a straight edge up here. I mean, that is perfect, so perfect. All right, so, and it's because I'm focusing on keeping this straight. This is gonna be a long video because I'm just kind of tired of hearing about this from a bunch of dudes that don't know what they're talking about. All right, now I'm gonna torque it, and you're gonna see that that red climbs up here. That's your telltale sign that you're in the danger zone. If you notice what happened every time I torqued that grinder over, you felt that before where the grinder catches and pulls forward. That's probably what it feels like when you grind. All right, if you focus on keeping those lines away and be aware of where your cutting edge is, and the only place that should be contacting is this tip right here. Grinders you don't typically think of them as precision instruments, but it is. All right, we're deeper in the cut. We're deeper in the cut. I'm gonna go ahead and plunge like a lot of people would take a cut right here, and then I want you guys to watch this edge. Watch what happens. This is why I don't plunge cut. See it? Now let's just go back to the way we should be doing it. Notice, I want you to notice my hand too, all right? So I don't have a guard on there, right? But when I go to balance it, I don't grab it like this. I'll start out the cut like that. I'll switch my hand over, and the bottom of my hand is pretty darn meaty, right? So it's gonna be able to take, no question. I don't care what you say, my hand is not gonna get cut right there. That's some tough skin, and this little grinder blade breaking up is not gonna cut my skin. If I hit my hand with it while it was fully rotating and all the pressure of the grinder, it will cut me. But this breaking apart, it's not gonna do anything. check out our plate. I just cut this. How the heck am I holding that with my hand? No joke. There it is. Just cut it seconds ago. This one's about the same temperature. I mean, I can touch it, and everybody freaks out. They're like, how did he just pick that up? I kind of want to leave this unedited so that you can see it was only seconds. I just moved my camera. But it's because I'm not grinding the heck out of this thing. I'm cutting gently. Now let's look at the back of the Porter Cable logo again. You can see, I mean, we still have paint all the way up to the edge. And there's no way, you're not going to be perfect. The cut's not going to be perfect. It is a grinder, but it can be a heck of a lot more precise. And we can just check our cut right here. We got some good light behind us. Let's see. Okay, looks like, well, we got a burr there. Looks like right at the tip, right there, we got a little gap. Everywhere else, we're just dead on. Let's go across the top. Right at the ends. Just trying to get you, it seems like there's a small gap right about here. But I gave myself a little bit of room. We're gonna run it to the belt sander and smooth it out. And not a critical part anyway, otherwise I wouldn't be cutting it with a grinder. But as far as angles go, she's perfect, she's square. Beautiful, love her. If you're relying on a safety device to protect you and foregoing the knowledge of how to safely operate the tool, man, when I have a guard, I'm literally, when you have a guard on, you are covering half your grinding surface. So I cannot see what the sparks are doing on my edge. I can't really see other than the feel of the grinder if I have it in a bind. Now I've been doing this so long that I'm very confident in just the little bit of feel that I get out of these. And the more you use a tool, you know, as a body tech, we use all kinds of tools, and they are literally extensions. We carve with them. You know, watch my videos. I'll just take a grinder and make an entire axe handle with a grinder, and it comes out slick. You know, I mean, it's because I can shape things and I understand how the tool works.